Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about EA and all of their EA stupidness at this point because it feels really bad, honestly, that EA is doing so well even though they're still laying off people, or at least they have been laying off people, and the fact that their CEOs and high-ranking members of the team are getting bonuses while they're laying off the people that are actually making that happen. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it if you do. If you'd like to support the channel directly, please go over to my Patreon or use my coupon code TechnoJelly at poggers.shop. A link in the description. You get 10% off using that code. Thank you everyone for listening. Now let's get straight into the video. So Eurogamer had this great article about the Battlefield 6 devs after they were laid off. The CEO, Andrew Wilson, his raise or bonus, I should say, from their 10K annual report is $38.7 million in 2026 instead of his $8 million bonus in 2025. So his bonus has gone up $30 million, basically, a little bit over $30 million, because, you know, the numbers are very specific because it is the 10K report. So they're very, like, down to the pennies. And this is really unfortunate because it's basically said that the reason for this is a performance bonus because Battlefield 6 is doing well and hit all milestones. The other games like EA Sports FC, FC Mobile, even Skate, and things like Apex Legends are doing well. And unfortunately, part of the reason why they're doing well is because EA cut a lot of costs by firing a lot of people. Many Battlefield developers were laid off, and the biggest problem with this is that, like, that technically means that EA has saved money because they aren't paying those people anymore, so they can hit milestones easier. And I feel like, I mean, this is just typical corporate terribleness, and it unfortunately is just like it sucks to say this as well, but it's just like the world we live in when it comes to this style of corporate structure. And it really sucks because obviously that the people that actually helped Battlefield 6 be the great game that it is now were fired or laid off. And the fact that this is probably going to be one of the last 10K reports we get because it has been confirmed, or at least the EU has confirmed, that EA can be bought by the private investment firm, so they're going to become a private company soon. It does feel like that from this point on, we're going to have to start guessing on how well EA is actually doing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying EA is going to collapse. EA still makes a ton of money. Even if we just look at the FIFA or FC Sports microtransactions, they're making enough money. The problem is that are they making enough money to satisfy their investors? But now their main investor is a public investment fund of Saudi Arabia. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes over. And the fact they're being bought for $55 billion. So, like, I guess they needed to make sure that all their numbers looked good. So they had to fire those people in March. And then they had to, you know, make sure everyone seemingly is going well. Because I think the biggest surprise for me is that them saying that Skate is going well. Because Skate, in my opinion, isn't going well. Because it only gets a couple thousand players daily on Steam. We don't know the console numbers, but, like, that's supposed to be your live service skateboarding game, and I don't think that's enough. Like, don't get me wrong, having a couple thousand daily players is a great thing, but for a multi-billion-dollar company, that's not a big deal. Like, for an EA, a couple thousand players is nothing. Like, you need way more than that, and I feel like this is just purely them saying good things because it is better to look good for the purchasing of the company. Because in direct quote from Eurogamer, Skate surpassed its player goal. EA Sports American Football seemingly passed its specific purchase goal, though the game only partially met on specific milestones, which what that is isn't made to be clear. So that's what Eurogame said, and honestly, I kind of agree with them because yes, the specific purchase goal is probably game downloads, I would assume, because it's a free-to-play game, so there is no purchase up front. So I'm assuming they mean players, because the game did hit really high peaks when the game first came out. Like, there was some hype behind Skate. But the partial is probably the player retention and microtransaction purchases, because I don't think the whales are big enough or spend enough to actually make Skate profitable in their eyes. Once again, we're talking about big multi-billion dollar corporations, because if you're a small indie team, Skate would be killing it. I mean, there are other smaller Skate games, like Skate-like games, I should say, that are, like, they're killing it with, like, a smaller player base, sure, but, they're still, moving along. They're trucking along. So it's going to be really interesting. So that was a surprise. And then another surprise was them basically saying that their bold AI strategy is working, which is surprising to me because first of all, I don't know really how much credit we should be giving that statement, because the AI tech scene is really rough and there's a lot of misleading numbers, I should say, probably is for the best to say, because once again, I don't know all the details, but AI isn't making money. So I'm curious what they mean by success or gone well, because they say it's from a business perspective, right? So it is interesting to see that it is a success from a business perspective when I feel like they haven't been making money on it, because it's Gen AI investment framework, research, expansion, and efficiency. Now, don't get me wrong, AI tools can make efficiency and stuff like that very good. Like it can make it actually quite efficient, but I don't know if that actually means what they want it to mean, because they are also talking about, replacing people with AI and that type of stuff, because that's always what these tech companies want to do, because they don't care about efficiency, really. They care about paying people less. And what they thought it was going to be was they're going to replace people with these AI programs, and pretty much has been proven that you can't do that. So maybe they're pivoting towards the whole efficiency side of things, which, I mean, is true. Like, even basic programs like Photoshop have AI tools now to help. And they always kind of did. Like, the Smart One tool, you can argue, was AI. But another big problem is that AI is also just a very broad term now. So it's hard to say what is and what isn't AI. So this is just EA doing the EA corporate thing, making everything sound great right before they close their doors. Because as long as everything gets signed on the dotted line, they are becoming a private company now, and they'll become privately owned by two companies, Gerard Kushner's Affinity Partners and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, which means they no longer have to do these 10K reports and they don't have to publicly expose these numbers. Now, I'm sure that the shareholders of EA are very happy. I'm sure they've made a lot of money. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been approved. So I'm saying I'm glad, but like, I'm sure they're glad. And another thing is that the CEO, Andrew Wilson, isn't the only one that got a big bonus payment. Their chief financial officer got $11.3 million. Their president of EA got $13.7 million, and their chief people officer got $8.3. And finally, their chief legal officer got $8.4. I'm curious if the reason these all people got all their bonuses at such high rates is because of the purchase of the company. Because, I mean, like, when you're thinking about the money and you're thinking about shareholders, that's the purchase of this company is $55 billion. So, like, that's a crazy amount of money. It's only $23 billion less than the purchase of Activision Blizzard King. And they owned Call of Duty and Candy Crush. And now, of course, Blizzard games, of course. But, like, Call of Duty and Candy Crush are two massive game IPs. And so, like, when you're very close to that amount of money, the shareholders must have been ecstatic. But it's going to be interesting to see, one, if this fully goes through, because it is cleared through all regulatory approvals, but there still hasn't been any official announcements on either side. So will we see, interesting to see, like, if the reports are the same of what they're going to say. And then the biggest one is, what does this mean for the games of EA? The biggest worry I have is BioWare right now. BioWare is making the Mass Effect game, and I am scared if the Mass Effect game isn't hugely successful, this will be the last BioWare game we ever see. Now that they're a private company, maybe it will change because they don't have to worry about shareholders. But I mean, it's still EA, so it's going to be interesting to see how it really goes, because I just don't see how Mass Effect can survive, or BioWare can survive, because I don't think this Mass Effect game is going to sell hundreds of or tens of millions of copies, honestly. Like, I'd hate to say it, but like, the Mass Effect series hasn't been, like, it's a successful series, don't get me wrong, it sells crazy amounts, but I don't think they can reach the amount that they need to sell for what will save BioWare after all the bad stuff that has happened to BioWare. And I mean, to be fair, maybe that's a good thing. Because BioWare hasn't been the same BioWare in a decade, basically. Like, the majority of BioWare that people remember that made the Mass Effect games, that made the Dragon Age games originally, most of them have left. So this is a new BioWare, and maybe if they end up getting closed down or shut down and those people move on to different projects, maybe that's a good thing. And the only sad thing is probably Mass Effect and, well, I mean, Dragon Age is essentially a dead IP right now. But maybe it's good that Mass Effect takes a little bit of go on the back burner and wait until someone can either buy the IP from EA or EA finally gets their act together and makes a good one. Or I could be completely wrong, and the Mass Effect they're working on is a success, and it doesn't even matter. And honestly, I'd be amazingly happy for that to happen. I've recently started playing the Mass Effect games because of the Legendary Edition, and they're fun games. But I just don't know how it works in a modern audience nowadays with no battle, with like not really a chance of a battle pass, microtransactions unlikely. It's interesting to see how they're going to react to it, and I'm scared personally because EA is EA. So when you have a successful Battlefield 6 launch and your job isn't even safe, who knows what's going to happen from Mass Effect. So it's going to be a big what if scenario. We're going to have to wait and see. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you kept watching through the whole video and you've made it to this part, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Like it if you liked it. Dislike it if you dislike it. It still gives me great feedback even if you dislike it. Comment down below what you guys would like to hear me talk about next. I do these videos generally on Mondays, so please come to the channel on Mondays. Let me know what you guys want to talk or see me talk about. If you'd like to support the channel in general, please go over to my Patreon at patreon.com/technojelly. You join all of these nice people in the credits going across your screen right now. You also get access to a once-a-month live stream that we do that you can vote on members as the Patreon members as well. If you'd like to support super directly, I have a code technojelly linked in the description at poggers.shop. Use code technojelly at checkout and you get 10% off, whether it be any of their products, whether it be their energy drink, hydration drink, or sleep aid mixes, as well as their shaker cups. They've been doing a bunch of cool new drops, so go over their poggers.shop, use my code technojelly for 10% off of any of their products. I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, all at the Technojelly. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time in another video. Goodbye, everyone.